If you've ever wondered what a diminished chord is or how to figure out what notes make up a diminished chord, this is the video for you. Before we get started, we need to define two things very quickly. One is a semitone. A semitone is the smallest interval that we have in Western music, aka from one note to the very next note. The second term we need to define is a triad. A triad is basically a series of three notes stacked in thirds. So a first, a third, a fifth. Because we're going up a third each time. Going up a third goes from 1 to 3, and then 3 skipping over 4 to 5. The reason we need to know what triad is because a diminished chord is a triad. It has a first, a third, and a fifth. And in the case of a diminished triad, specifically we have our root note, and then we have a minor third, and we have a diminished fifth. So let's take a D diminished chord. In a D diminished chord, the root note is exactly what the name of the chord is. So the root note would be a D. Next, we need to figure out what the third of the chord is. Because it's a diminished chord, we know that it will be a minor third. A minor third is 3 semitones. So we just count up 3 semitones from D to figure out what the third of our chord is. So starting with D, we go up to D sharp, and then E, F. So our third of our D diminished chord is an F. Next, we need to figure out our fifth. Because it's a diminished chord, we have a diminished fifth. And this is a diminished fifth from the root. So we go back to our root, and then we have to count up 6 semitones, because a diminished fifth interval is 6 semitones. So we start with our D, and then go up D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp. So we know that our D diminished triad is a D, an F, and a G sharp. But because it is a triad and we know it's stacked in thirds, we should know that our letters we have are D, F, and A. So our G sharp should actually be labeled A flat. So technically, the notes in our chord are D, F, and A flat. So now you know how to figure out any diminished chord. This exact formula will work on any diminished chord. So whether it's E flat or A sharp, it does not matter. You can just take these intervals, minor third and diminished fifth, aka 3 semitones and then 6 semitones, and you can figure out the diminished chord. Hopefully this was helpful to you. If it was, be sure to drop a like on this video. It helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. And if you want to learn even more about music theory, and specifically the music theory that you need to know as a songwriter, be sure to check out my free guide at songwritertheory.com/music theory guide. The link will be in the description. It teaches what I think are the 4 pillars of music theory. If you know these 4 pieces of music theory, I think that will cover almost all your bases to what you really need to know to help you songwrite better and to songwrite much more efficiently and know what you're doing. Sure, other things are helpful like sus chords and add chords and seventh chords. Those things are all super helpful as well, but these 4 pillars are the absolute must-know things for songwriters. So be sure to check that out. Thank you for watching this video, and I will talk to you next time.